We good? All right, perfect. So I'm introducing the agenda again. So we have these items. Hopefully you can see my screen visibly enough. 7 items on the agenda, starting off with Luca. We're going to talk about working groups, which I think for me, I think probably for Patrick and Mo is the kind of the bulk of this conversation, perhaps. And then there's the stuff on product categories and questions and other matters.
Yeah, I will do maybe a little context before that Luca jump in. So since last call, Luca, as Anum said exactly the point that he has on his agenda, on his plate with the bot. And here it is exactly what has been made during since the last time. So I will let exactly Luca break down into what is done, what is in progress. So Luca, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So progress since last week, I guess. First, we finished the Upvotbot removal from CD group and from other groups. Until then, basically the bot stayed into the groups, which is, let's say, a privacy issue. The reason why CD group will still need the bot there 24 hours, and the normal groups will still need the bot there 14 days, is because of invite link. The invite link, until we need the invite link, until then, basically the bot needs to be in the group. That's how it works. Once we throw bot out, the invite links basically get invalidated. And the reason we need 14 days is because that's the amount of time we basically keep notifying people to upload the video if they still didn't. Okay, so that's the first point. The second is we changed the topic asset link because to the basically Eden one, because Eden is paying Beamfra to host it, and basically we changed to that as well. And what we have in progress, we're hoping to basically finish tomorrow, is basically reading the L1, so delegate tags from. We're reading it from the give SBT basically action, and we are moving it to election rank. Election rank is basically, it's like the initial info that it's found in members in members basically table. Yeah. And we are hoping basically to start this process tomorrow, to basically start the bot, and so the rotation should happen then. So we're hoping rotation happens tomorrow. By rotation, I mean L1 tags, admins, CD admins, and all that, because then basically we can do it without, even if give SBT wasn't called. Now there is one issue, basically I guess a new one, which is basically the give SBT is still needed for at least it was used in our bot to basically see who voted the last election, and then we kind of check if people voted in last 9 months, right? And this was kind of an SBT check. Now this won't be called anymore if I understand Sashit correctly. And basically I see we have 2 options, or I guess 3. One is to disable the automatic cleaning of a Telegram group from the people that didn't vote. That's one option, that's the cheapest. The second one is basically that we move the dependency from from this action to basically to the vote action. That could be second. That wouldn't be too expensive. And then probably the third option is like long-term to fix the contract as well. This is only interesting if basically some of cities want to take over.
Yeah.
To push that. Otherwise, no.
Yeah. Say the Upvotbot by Luca, very well software engineered, no loosely coupled, no other link with other things, by the way, that can change sometimes from one term to other term. So at least the Upvotbot is very standardized. I think that's very well thinked. Thank you, Luca.
Yeah, before we go on to the next topic, let me just say, given that Luca's time is more constrained, I don't know if we want to cover this issue to its end, if Sacha wants to address any points or anything regarding it from his end.
Yeah, actually, I had something to say on this, and maybe like I can go over in more details in one of the tech meetings.
Voilà.
But the thing is, like in real short, like so the way we have been issuing SBTs till now is like in an ad hoc way. Like if somebody participated in an election, we used to like kind of give SBT to that person. So basically, every election we had to kind of give new information in the contract that issue election 5 SBT, election 6 SBT, and things like that. So to avoid all these changes, like every election, so there were some changes that were done in the background. Like we created something called series SBT. It makes more sense in things like elections which move on, like one election to second election, third election, fourth election, and so on. Now the checks. So I think Luca's, how I understand Upvotbot is like it's based on like checking if somebody participated in last election, 1 out of last 3 election, 1 out of last 4 election, or things like that. Similar combination, 3 out of 4, and all those things. So to help in all of these, I also created a checks contract, like where like even from off-chain, even off-chain off-chain code can call that, and it would return an error message saying that check has failed, that somebody has not participated in these many elections. So it would be some work from Luca, but it would like it would be, I think, if we look at long term, it would be easier thing to maintain. Like Luca won't have to maintain any Hyperion and other stuff. He might be maintaining Hyperion, it feels to me, Hyperion or something similar. So, but I can Luca, I can share more details in tech group, and I'm also open to meet like any other time, whatever worked for you. So like before you move ahead too much in this third step that you were saying, like which is in progress, I would recommend like we should meet once and kind of figure out like what could be the best way forward.
Totally. That's why you are here, Sashid, in this call today, because there was this point on the agenda. So more detail into the Eden NFT Telegram or into the working group tech dev at a point, because we want to stay here and signal the things, and then for more detail, put the people in contact and discuss. So I think makes sense. Yeah.
So hopefully, Sashit, Luca, we're going to be able to organize when is appropriate, or how you guys want to approach having those conversations with other people in the tech working group. So we could get to that now. It's coming up on the agenda.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else specifically on that status of the bot, let's move on. Item number 2, MSIG Edenia, Mo.
Yeah, this is just a simple announcement that the ddfunds.eden account and the dd or the dfunds.eden account have both been created to facilitate the donations from the delegates that everyone committed to doing. The 75% donations should be going to ddfunds.eden. That's delegate donation funds.eden. So make sure that you make those donations as soon as possible, and we can start organizing how they'll be distributed for the working groups.
Alrighty, so moving on. So we've got 2 blocks here for working group formation and working group updates.
Well, in terms of the working group formations, as you guys know, this document has been shared by Gabriel so that everyone can start sharing what their interests are and start formalizing how we can begin forming these working groups. Given that, well, some people have already filled this information out, a lot of people have not. We would have liked to see more people giving more of what they're interested in into this document. Hopefully that happens as we move forward. However, given that we want to have more progress made sooner, we're going to start formalizing these working groups and establishing their meeting times in the coming week. So we've put up the polls in each working group to see what is the most convenient day and time for the members to meet, and please feel free to vote in those polls and share your preferred meeting times and days. And on Monday, we'll be establishing what those days and times will be so that we can start having those meetings, and they're going to be open to everyone to join, where everyone will start getting together and discussing what the proposals that they want to move forward are and how they're going to be spending the funds that they plan to request. Do you guys want to add anything to that?
Patrick?
It's okay. I totally aligned with Mo.
Okay, great. So we jump down. This is section 3 of this document, and some people have added some areas of interest and what they see as their commitments to Eden. The working groups is where the community, anyone in the community, any member, doesn't have to be delegates, shouldn't just be delegates, but anyone can participate in developing what Eden is. It'll be fantastic if we can just go around those surveys. I just saw them. I think that was great. So we can get the timings that suit everyone. And then it's about the working groups driving the bus. The working groups are going to be able to decide what is important and developing plans together in consensus with each other. And then we're moving towards the funding opportunities coming from the existing treasury. But really, to make this fully operational, we need a lot more money. So it's pushing us in the direction of having this funding pitch deck that we can all contribute to. I will certainly be very much involved with that, helping. And then we can be able to present that to attract new funding. So the working groups need to be able to align and present how we're going to grow Eden on EOS and support the purpose paper direction, even though it's not ratified, the bylaws, whatever. We're trying to figure out what that direction is, and it will all come through the working groups. So if you guys want to participate in Eden, then it's about being in a working group, not just the being the delegate, not just being chief delegate, but what can we do inside the working groups to support? Mo, your hands up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. The delegate donations, donation funds.eden account, the DD funds.eden, that's specifically for this. So that's where the funding is going to be coming from for the working groups. If there's no funding there, there's no incentive for people to join. So keep that in mind, and you can see what the idea behind each working group is over here in communication/media. You can see the key result areas in green, what the goals of that working group are. So that will help kind of align already the people that are joining that working group, why they're there, apart from having their own projects or ideas that they can put forward and propose as deserving of funding, which will accomplish those goals in green, for example. So it's really a question of trying to put these puzzle pieces together and seeing where you can best contribute. That's what the working groups are there for. We want them to be productive. We want them to move this Eden on EOS effort forward and make some more progress. So yeah, buying that.
I'm particularly interested. So I think we all acknowledge that we need to grow the community, and one of the things to talk about in the communications media are the branded Eden channels. I've started a LinkedIn company page for what we're doing. Haven't started promoting that yet. I want to talk with we need consensus as a communications media working group on how we start using that. But we can imagine that we can start attracting new talent, new founders for projects that need funding, and then we're moving in the direction of growth and developing our funding pitch over the next month or so. So that's my particular strong interest for the communications media group. People like anyone on this call, but Liam, I still remember we had a good conversation in the election. And then people here, Dominic, Veronica, Patrick, Perry, Mo, Sparrow, Liam, we've all got listed as interested. Hopefully, and maybe there'll be some others that want to start meeting on whatever schedule basis we decide based on the survey that Mo's published for these timings. So I don't want to ramble. Moving on, same story, tech development. There's just a few people listed here. If you're not here, if you're not in the working group, then you're effectively not part of talking or discussing or working on tech development for Eden on EOS. We don't want everyone in all of the working groups because we've all got other commitments and we've got specialist skills and knowledge and whatever contributions, but that this is what it's about, developing those specialist areas as appropriate. And so there's the admin finance area and the election governance area and the accelerator incubator area. So regardless of filling in the L1 delegates table with your interests further at the top, now is the time to come into these working group areas, do the poll that Mo did for the timing, and let's start meeting as working groups, hopefully even, well, it's end of this week, so over the weekend and the beginning of next week, we can actually get a different style of meeting happening, focused on each of these particular areas and actually progressing. Jump back up to the agenda. Patrick, Mo, anything else to add there?
A little remark on that. That's not enough to put just the column interest skills. You have also to fill the column commitments. Because if you just say my interest and skills are that, and you don't fill the column commitment, sorry. So be precise on what you want to do. Testify your intent and say what you want to commit.
Yeah, totally. And if that comes out of having the first working group conversations, then maybe that's where we're going to figure that stuff out as well, is help to work out what each other want to do, what our goals are, the objectives, and then we find the commitments. And for the time being, regardless of funding, whatever the funding is right now, it's peanuts. And we all know that. EOS is down, the treasury is down, so the disbursements are not worth the effort that we're going to put in. What is worth the effort that we're going to put in is the leadership and training and practice that we all get by being participants, learning from each other and building for next year where we can have significant funding and turn this into more of a professional kind of opportunity for people who actually want to make a income type thing out of it. That's my perspective. So so we've covered working group formation, working group updates, anything. Yeah, so I mentioned the LinkedIn page. We want to think about Twitter and YouTube, website ownership and update. So far we've got the Eden elections. I don't know what the understanding is, but my view is that the community needs to have ownership and control and abilities to manage all of these things rather than being owned by different people. We got Patrick, for example, publishing chief delegate interviews on his branded channel. That unfortunately is not going to help grow the Eden on EOS brand. So this is the conversation for the media working group, is how do we want to present as a brand, the messaging, this tone, the ownership, the management of these assets, etc., etc.
The same for the call like now. I am publishing on the youtube.com that I received on the behalf of Waxa the right to publish on his on the YouTube that he has created. By the way, there is also an Eden On EOS. I saw that with Mo today, that are 300 or 400 subscribers. That was on term 1, 2, 3. There was this Eden On EOS YouTube, and then that has moved to this YouTube that is linked with this EdenElections.com since term 4, maybe with Waxa and all. So there is a legacy here, and we know that.
Essentially, what we're saying is that all of the people that have any kind of media or maintaining any kind of websites or whatever should be in this communications and media working group and contributing to that working group and staying on the same page with what we're building and the direction that we're moving in, if they have any intention of keeping that alive. Otherwise, we need to kind of focus in on exactly what our media is.
But feel free to jump in. Dominic.
Yeah, just trying to get clarity. It felt like in the first call that because of the sort of the way things are moving and in the interest of speed, the chief delegates were going to assign leads, and then the leads would only keep their position by a vote in the group at some point down the road. Has that changed? Like, how do we get these moving? Because I'm ready to get started, and we're kind of running out of time to get some projects lined up for, you know, the next election. So we at least have a proof of concept we can start showing off. So what's the process?
Patrick Mo, do you want to share your view on that, or shall I?
My understanding is exactly what say Dominic. Yeah, last call was mentioned that when we will have the interest of the L1 or the Eden On EOS member to join the working group, at a point, us the CDs, and that was mentioned into the last call, into the agenda, we have to appoint the leads. Correct, Mo? No?
Yes, that was the general idea. We've been moving in the direction of trying to get intent from the community first.
Yeah.
And trying to build that consensus. We would have all three of us, we would have liked to have seen more of the community step up faster in the course of this week since this document was published. However, given that this is the interest that we've received at this point, I think we need to start making more headway.
Yeah, I mean, guys, Eden's dead. I mean, it's only the people in here and another handful that care at this point. Like, we have to move, we have to make some action, and then people will care again, and, you know, we can, you know, institute all the decentralized, you know, democratized processes we want, but let's get rolling.
Totally, Dominic, but we need to have the people into this document. So you don't show to a working group if you have not even put your intent into this document, correct, Mo? Or what?
Yes.
So there's the commitment column here. My sense is that we can do everything behind closed doors because the community is relatively dead. We've got a handful of people here, which is fantastic as a starting point, but relatively we can say that things are dead compared to what we want them to be. And so my sentiment is, how do we leverage everything that we do for publicity? Is there anything really substantial that we can achieve just by appointing people versus making a public display of what we're doing to build momentum in the audience? So my view would be, anyone who wants to be a lead, anyone who wants to be a participant, let's present the concept, we are upvote elections. Let's try and make a public display of being a consensus making group that meets and shares and presents. And then that's it. And then we have a video to show the evidence or to show the beginning of momentum, which will all be usable when we go to the block producers or ENF or whoever to show them the track record, to show them publicity, to show them engagement, to show them new people coming in and watching, spectating, participating. So that doesn't have to take time. It's just a case of people actually getting presentation together and us having those presentations.
Yeah, that's beautiful, all that. As always, that's beautiful words.
Well, then I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the same for me. That's a beautiful word, all that. But at a point, you need someone into the working group that is the lead and that is collaborating with the other into the working group. That's totally logical.
Okay, so let's explore that. What does that mean to be a lead? What would the lead be doing?
Coordinate with the other into the
coordinate
group.
What? If the groups are dead, then what are they coordinating?
To have the same vision, the same message. Otherwise, everyone is doing what he can, and at the end, we have nothing. To be clear,
So
very clear.
Sure. Yeah. So that's for each group to get together and have those meetings and to discuss that vision and then present it. That's it.
So the question is, that's
what we speak since term 6, by the way.
Hold on. How do we establish the lead that's going to be presenting that vision before the working group? That's the step that we're in right now, is where I feel.
Right. So the group needs to get together, and whoever is going to be appointed naturally emerges as the lead. Then it should be a relatively easy thing. If it's not, then it's an upvote process from that group to select their lead. And that's Eden elections. That fits in with the culture of what we're trying to do.
So the first step is getting that meeting and having that happen.
Gav, Mo, will you vote me up as lead? Because if I say yes, that's 3 of 4. And let's get rolling.
I want the recording of these conversations so we can use them for publicity.
So when do we do it?
I would say through the course of next week would be at each meeting. That's when.
Let's please not wait that long. Can we do it tomorrow, some point, or get started, or just get our group together? I mean, what's the process?
It's self-organized.
Can we just get the people who are on the sheet and get them meeting as soon as we can collectively and just do our thing and record it?
Sure. It's a working group. The channel's in the Telegram. Let's do it.
Well, I don't have a channel in Telegram yet for Incubator Accelerator. That was part of my challenge.
The strategy working group is being used for that.
Okay, great. Awesome. Let's roll, boys. I mean, Gav, you have some experience here in the Helios Incubator. Very low quality projects in this space, guys, overall, for the most part, truly. Why do you think there's so few that have done anything, right? It's not because Web3 doesn't have enough people in it. It's not because we're not mainstream. It's because we haven't built anything that anybody gives a shit about. That's the problem, because Alien Worlds is doing great. People care about it. They enjoy it. There's a big community. I just came from a meeting with them, and they're doing a hyphen DAO and all this crazy stuff, right? There's use cases, but we need good teams that are both technically and business sound. And I just think that's going to take a bit. And my quick vision for the Incubator Accelerator Circle is, I believe that between now and the next election, we at least need like 3 projects that we like and can put forward as proof of concepts to say, these are the kinds of things we would pick. Here's why we picked them. I have a whole criteria I'll share with everybody that we can build on. But, you know, I feel like that's the type of stuff we're going to need coming into the next election to get people to be really excited about this. The other part of that particular circle, in my opinion, and is an important element of it, is we're going to need to present the community with options around the legal issues, right? Or potential legal issues and risks, because that's clearly a big topic. Understandably, it should be. I believe there's lots of solutions. I don't think it's as scary and hairy as people think. The US has recently relaxed a bit, but anyway, those are some of my things, but you know, I just want to get rolling, but I have direction now, so thank you.
I would only add that for term 6, from the finance end of it, we've published the distributions, so everyone's aware of how they're going to be receiving, or the amounts that they're going to be receiving for their contributions and their participation in the working groups that occurred throughout term 6, which was a proof of concept. We saw about 37 individual unique members join, so that's not a bad number given the election turnout. 37 unique members, and yeah, hopefully this one we can have more than that. I encourage everyone to check out that Excel spreadsheet, see if everything aligns with your recollection of how things happened, and if all good, on Monday we'll be making those distributions.
Where is that saved now?
in the finance topic.
Okay. Cool. Anyone else from the group on these subject of working groups, or we're moving on?
From the administrative end, I think we've already addressed the lack of, or at least my perceived lack of participation in this worksheet. I'd like to have seen more people fill this out. So hopefully, if you know someone that you think could be a productive member of a working group, please tell them to fill out this sheet and encourage them to also participate.
So number 5 on the agenda, what category of project do we want on Eden on EOS? I didn't have anything specifically on this. Mo or Patrick, did you have stuff?
Yeah, from my end, it was just simply something that we addressed the last meeting, and I think it's a fun activity that we can all start discussing and seeing where do we think that the market is heading and what kind of projects do we want to be incentivizing and funding as a general discussion. If anyone has any ideas or wants to share. Dominic has his hands up.
Just going to briefly say, I think it's hard to determine at this stage because it's not like there's going to be hundreds in each category to pick from. We're going to kind of have to go with what's available, right? What's out there. And so it's a little hard to, I think it's too soon to start narrowing our focus. We can have ideas the community wants us to move toward, but I don't think we're gonna have enough flexibility to fully just say, oh, we're just doing this.
Yeah, it was interesting feedback from one of the block producers was about the gaming area, and ENF, I believe, has picked up on the gaming area quite strongly. So that could be a significant contender, but I 100% agree that until we really see what's happening in the market, then maybe it's going to be difficult to actually just pick a few of these categories.
Yeah, I think just like maybe some priorities, that makes sense. That's cool. Like you said, I mean, I think GameFi is clear. ENF has mentioned that they're focused on it. You know, like you said, the BPs are behind it. They're the biggest apps we have on both Wax and EOS. So no brainer. But, you know, if there's no good games out there, there's no good games out there. We don't want to throw, you know, our money at garbage.
I think another thing to keep in mind is also the leveraging of the EVM. So
yeah, totally.
Can do with someone that wants to leverage the EVM or coming on from Ethereum or something. It would be of interest.
I think that's almost a bigger priority. Sorry, Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. I think we are aligned, Dominic, Mo, and me on that. EOS EVM, we have ENV that is regulated, legal compliant in mainland China, Hong Kong, since end of May, beginning of June, that has begun to be regulated. Now the projects that are into the pipeline on the side of Ethereum Solidity can finally move to EOS EVM with more certainty, and us as a Eden On EOS worker proposal system, we have to move to target those prospects, those projects, and we have lead Sparker by Nicolas Darwan, that is a delegate level 1 here by the bees. So we have a card to play. I was just interviewing Jesse yesterday, and that's published next week. We do always a parenthesis on Eden On EOS. That will be a nice advertising with Nova Crypto YouTube, yeah, okay, with my Twitter account, but big Twitter account. That's not just about 1,000 subscribers. We speak about 4,500 subs on Nova Crypto, and soon 5,000, and etc. So I have a good visibility, and there will be a video published every day on next week. And I will publish into the working group Comms and Media my progress. So I am moving, I am already working, and I will contact Liam, yeah, for sure, to make something impactful, straight to the point, the message that we have here, not say wrong things, say exactly what we are doing with nice video, AI video that I have already made with Pictory.ai, concise, clear, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, not more, to have the best impactful message. So, like said Dominic, we have to move on. We have to move on. We cannot stay like this during 1 week more, 2 weeks more before to begin to do something.
I think you're 100%. And the other part of this is we might be able to simply do something along the lines of just scout and make a deal with ENV where they pay for us to do that, because it could be very well in their interests, you know. We just bring projects and we bring them through a process that we create and a criteria, and you know, they fund us to keep doing that for a while until we, you know, can find enough capital to do it ourselves, say, right? Like that could be the first step.
Yeah, no time to waste.
point.
No time to waste. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to point out the capability of funding also community forming applications or projects. I was just listening to Charles Hoskinson live, coming back, discussing basically as if he's speaking to EOS 2 years ago. So his Cardano seems to be essentially where EOS was 2 years ago, deciding that they might want to be a DAO of DAOs and so on and so forth. So helping out other blockchains with their community building and their governance structures, that might be of benefit to us as well.
Okay, to be structured now, organized, structured, what are the next steps more that you envision with this working group exactly? How it will plays out now for the people here watching this, or the people that were not here today that will reach this video, to be very, very crystal clear?
Yeah, at this point, I think we are essentially, I think we're all aligned. Gabrielle, please correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misunderstanding you, as I didn't really get a full answer before. So we're going to have the leads contact us, or we're going to have the working groups start, elect a lead, and then have the lead contact us.
Though my view is that the working group conversation should be recorded so that we can make use of the video in publicity, and the working group ideally will start to self-organize. There's no authorization that chief delegates need to give. Chief delegates are here to support abiding by the bylaws. The working groups are here to self-organize and do the work of the community, do the will of the community.
Well, my understanding that the working groups organize and they select a lead.
And they should, a lead, like the definition of a lead, along with all of the other roles in that, there should be a plan that comes from the working groups, and that chief delegates, the way that I see it, we're helping to preserve the consensus of the community and then to facilitate treasury.
I'll be honest, in the purpose paper, initially, it establishes it in the form of the chief delegates electing and selecting the leads. So as far as that, there isn't any working groups established yet. So they're all new.
Yeah, because we're so light on people's involvement so far. So that seems like a expedient way of doing it. I want things recorded so that we can have publicity and we can start to set the culture of the community. I don't think it's a big ask.
We could do it through interviewing the different leads and having them make their case, and we're done.
100%.
Okay. Well, I guess we have a way forward. Anyone that wants to be a lead, please contact us and we'll start scheduling the interviews.
Voila, next step. That's clear.
Next step after that is establishing through voting. We'd like everyone that's interested in participating in a working group, please vote for the time and the day that you would like to participate in that working group, or what would be convenient for you, and we can establish the date and time of each working group moving forward on Monday.
I have a question for you, Mo. Can you be very crystal clear that if you go into a working group, that's also thinked that you distribute your funds for a mutual funds, and we have the account, it's DD funds that was just created yesterday for today, to be sure. So now if the people are going into a working group, in an ideal scenario, they send the funds to those
yes, whether or not you're going to be in a working group, as a delegate, as a chief delegate, we've all made the commitment to.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. Sorry to say, but that's not what was agreed.
That's why I come with that. That's
By
very
the people who voted for me, the idea was that we still have not ratified these bylaws. We still
Correct.
need to review the numbers, the quantities, and all of the items in the
Let me
in the
rephrase.
statement.
If you're aligned with the direction of this of this Eden on EOS, then you will donate 75% of your funds to the delegate donation funds.eden. Is that better?
Totally.
Oh.
And
We'll know
that has nothing.
We'll know who's aligned if they donate their funds to this. If you're
Yeah.
not aligned with this, then you will not donate your funds to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Or you
The funds, but there's no plan to use the funds. This is what I'm not understanding. This is what I was elected on. We need a clear plan so that we're not wasting treasury, and we haven't had that to date.
The plan is that us as chief delegates will allocate funding to each working group depending on the priorities that we see fit. So the way that you've expressed them issuing their proposals is one way forward. But essentially, moving forward into the future, I would like to see the chief delegates already have an idea of what they are already prioritizing and where they want to drive production.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
At the place that we're at right now, what you're proposing is a very interesting and viable way forward, that the working groups issue their proposals for how much funding they want and where they plan to spend it.
Right.
So but without the funds in the ddfunds.eden account, we have no funds to dispose of. So we need the commitment of the delegates and the chief delegates that are aligned with this vision, that got elected supposedly on the fact that they're aligned with this vision, to donate their funds, their 75% to that account.
It wasn't the conversation in my round 1 or round 2. So
I'll tell you honestly, it should have been, because that's why I made the presentation before the election. That conversation should have been had in every single group.
Well, but there are different opinions in an election, right? So the consensus was, we're not ratifying yet. We're going through the numbers and the allocations, the planning, to be sure that the community is on board.
That's
we
fine.
spent all of last 3 months before the election getting everybody on board. I don't know why.
But we didn't. Dan Singjoy is here on the call. He didn't.
He's won.
Right, but the people that elected Dan wasn't in my rooms. So whoever was in my rounds 1 and 2, the idea was the same. Adam was in one of them. Dwayne was in one of them. The sentiment was, we need to be clear on the numbers and the plan before, because we're not ratifying the bylaws.
We're not ratifying the bylaws, but at this point, we're asking everyone to voluntarily align with that.
We're aligned, but the alignment is, we've got to do the planning and see that we're happy with where money would be spent. And then we're moving towards being able to ratify the bylaws and operationalize the plan.
Well, remember that we're on blockchain, so we know everyone that's donated and where the funds have come from. If we find out that for whatever reason, either we haven't received enough funds, and with that amount, none of this is operational, or we've received all of the funds, but we are unable to decide what proposals we want to accept, or we're not seeing any viable proposals from the working groups, we can always return the money back to the delegates and have them dispose of that as they please.
Well, then it doesn't matter that's exactly the point. It doesn't matter to collect the funds if there's nothing that the community wants to do with the funds. So let's do the plan first, and then you fund the plan.
Would you show up to a working group knowing that there aren't any funds?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great for you guys, but I would say that a lot of the people that showed up to the working groups before were showing up because they knew that there was 7,500 EOS that were being distributed. The idea that most of the people that joined Eden joined because there was a treasury. I mean, I don't know how to say this, but most people, when they see that there's a treasury and there's funding, they come.
Yeah,
the whole idea
sure. But and this was part of the problem as well that we've been through, is that it ended up being people just taking their funds for their pet projects instead of being aligned on the same page with a plan that serves organizational purpose. So I don't know how different we are on this. Maybe it's just a different way, a different route to achieve the same thing. But I don't think we can go on what happened before, because what happened before, obviously, we all agree, didn't work particularly well.
I have no intention of distributing funds.
I'm going to shock everybody. I'm going to shock this entire group and say, I agree with both Mo and Gabriel at the same time.
Wow. So good. So I've only got 4 minutes left for this because I got this other phone call I have to go to. But this is what it's all about. We were elected on a similar direction, but with slightly different opinions, and we got different things. So let's. This is an ongoing conversation. Dan, you've raised your hand. Let's go over to you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Gabriel, and really appreciate the conversation, all the great work here. I have a lot of notes and stuff that I could share at some point in another meeting, but just a couple key points that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention as far as what I've been doing to help with Eden On EOS, and many other people have been helping the community. On the Eden Creators channel, we just released the 58th Eden Fractal meeting. It's called EF58, collaborating with Eden On EOS. It was a discussion where Dwayne had made a topic, who's on the call right now, I believe. Dwayne had posed a topic about inviting Eden On EOS members and delegates to Eden Fractal meetings, and also helping Eden On EOS set up fractals like is proposed in the book by the chief delegates last time, or at least using Eden Fractal tools. So just wanted to just share that with everybody, encourage everybody to watch it, because there was lots of great discussions about Eden On EOS. We had about 11 or 12 Eden On EOS members talking about there, as well as some delegates. So encourage everybody to see that. Looking forward to collaborations in both. First off, everybody's welcome, of course, to join the Eden Fractal meetings every Wednesday at 15:30 UTC, and it's a great way to network and meet and speak with Eden members, and also learn about a lot of the processes and tools and games that can help Eden On EOS a lot. And yes, especially that discussion, it was quite a bit about Eden On EOS, and so I think everybody would find it very interesting. And then also still working on proposals and feedback and so forth on the bylaws and purpose paper and dispute resolution. So I'll share that as soon as I can. And I'll also fill out the other information there. And then I'll also release a town hall episode where I spoke with Perry and Rosemary, and also Gabrielle. Thanks for joining there as well. Where we also mostly talked about Eden On EOS, so I'll be releasing that soon as well. But just wanted to share those as updates. And I know we're short on time, so I could share a lot more, but maybe I'll just keep it there for now. And just encourage you to watch, and also feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do to help too. And looking forward to collaborating with everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. So I picked up 2 questions from the chat group just earlier in today. Dominic said, do you think the BPs and all that really care? That is, I think, fundamentally the point. If they don't care about what we're doing, then we're not going to get funding from, and therefore Eden On EOS will not exist. So we have to figure out how to make the BPs care. Mo and Lenny have met with a bunch of BPs, and surprise, surprise, to my knowledge, they do care. I met with Patrick and Mo with one of the BPs, and I was very surprised at what a wonderful 1-hour conversation it was. And I think that particular BP does care. We need to figure that out, and that's the reason why I'm pushing this agenda of making our work visible, so that we can develop that engagement that, yes, apparently does exist in the BPs. I've got to drop off.
That's not what I was saying, though. I was just saying I don't think they'll care about the process. I know they care.
No, so right,
the process.
But they might care about. They
want to see results. That's all.
Right, and one of the results is to show how we're appointing and developing groups. So it's recording that pitch, that conversation, having a plan that we can then take to them and show them this is what's going on.
Yeah, but you don't know that for sure, Gav.
I don't know
that they really care how the process is done. You don't.
100%.
We could just as easily appoint people and get work done, and that could easily be just as happy.
But that is work.
We could. No shit, dude. You know what I'm talking about. There was a whole thing that was in the first call that said the CDs were just going to appoint people and we were going to get shit done. It's fine. We can do it differently, but we should have said that last week. We're wasting time. That's my point. There's a lot of urgency.
Totally.
I haven't seen anything that you would do. If it's in the power of Mo and Patrick to elect you as leader, as 2/3 majority, and you don't want to demonstrate or show what you're going to do or participate in recording that so that we can use it.
That's not what I said. I said you should have said last week that we were doing this.
We did.
No, that's not what was said last week. Does anybody else remember saying we're going to get videos and get elected? And I didn't hear that. I heard CDs were going to be appointing. That was
totally. There is the recording for that. go back to the recording and you.
My
I think
position
the
is
world of
that-
you, Gav. You know that. All I'm saying is, I think we lost a week for no good reason. So let's go faster now.
I don't know
everybody.
why did we lose a week?
Because we could have said in the last meeting the strong position you have. Patrick just corroborated. I thought the CDs were picking, and that's why I reached out to you after the call, and you were like, "No, I want to do it this way." That was a departure, man.
I don't have to say my position. The
I'm not
biggest
fucking
paper-
crazy. Don't gaslight me on this. Mo will corroborate. We all thought you guys were.
We had the conversation.
The first call. You said it
Okay.
after the call, though.
Fine, it's after the call. Big deal.
Well, it just makes a difference because it's not like ratified by the group.
Respect, if you want to speak, you raise your hand and you don't cut the mouth of someone, just to respect the people here, okay? So Dan has his hand raised since a while. Perry will speak, but he has not raised his hand, so I encourage you to raise your hand when you want to speak. So maybe now, Dan, again, let's go.
All right, great. Thanks, Patrick. I'm curious about the timeline for when the leads will be selected and also the process. So as I understood, the goal is to have it where the circles and the working groups are electing their own leads, but that's not how it will originally start. It will start out with it being appointed by chief delegates, and the matter of discussion there was that Dominic was saying that it should just be the chief delegates, the three of you guys just picking and getting it done fast, whereas Gabriel was saying, well, let's take some time, let's get it on video, and let's make more of a process and stuff like that. Personally, and feel free to jump in if I'm misunderstanding, personally, I feel like I'm more aligned with Gabriel's vision here because I'm still like trying to get around here. I don't feel like we're really losing time because we're able to still work on a lot of things without having the working groups established with leaders, and I'm still trying to figure out what is the best working group to contribute and so forth. And I appreciate like having a bit of time to consider that, as well as having a more visible process. Like I feel like it might be a bit rushed if we just say, oh, that person lead, this person lead, that person lead, because I know Dominic, I think he expressed an interest in being a lead of the incubator, and I'm still looking into exactly how I can participate there. So I guess I want to just ask, or just make sure I'm understanding this correctly, and then two, ask, is there a timeline for when the circles and working group leadership will be appointed by, and is that and will that certainly be appointed by the chief delegates as opposed to the groups to begin with?
So I've got to drop now. I'm right on my minute to start another call that's important, just as this one is. My suggestion, you guys can carry on, of course. My suggestion is let's meet the working groups. This is good energy in the room. Let's start having those focused working group conversations, see who shows up, see who has ideas, see what consensus there is, and then it should be very easy to move forward. So hopefully that's going to work for everyone. And we do that. There's no timeline. We do that as soon as the community makes it happen. Love you all. I'm going to the next call.
Thanks for your time, Gabriel.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't think or there's much benefit to continuing this call without the third chief delegate, unless you guys want to speak off the record or unofficially. But other than that, just to say that from the purpose paper, you guys can see what the vision was. The chief delegates would elect Dan, he pretty much outlined it accurately. The chief delegates would elect the leads for each circle that is newly created. After the circles are created, after each term, the lead is elected within the circle. But for that, we need active circles. So without active circles, it is difficult to move this process along. That is why we would need the chief delegates to jumpstart the process. That's the vision in the purpose paper. It was articulated from the onset, so there shouldn't be any confusion from that end. Other than that, I would just encourage everyone that wants to be a lead to contact us and make their case known. I think that was the agreement that before Gabriel left, although he kind of changed what his perspective was right before leaving. Kind of reverted back to his original position. So the conversation will continue, I guess, and we can leave it there.
Okay, So for me, I see the question of Dan now in the chat because the things are not clear. So let's open the door to the people to express their, let's say, uncertainty, like Dan's enjoy. That's the perfect time to ask this question. But okay, to be very clear, we have not yet ratified the bylaws. Yes, it's true. We have not yet ratified the bylaws, but that's not because of that we cannot begin this working group and that we cannot appoint a lead for the working group. We have stated that on the day of the election. That's recorded when Mo was doing his speech at the beginning and explaining exactly what is the vision. You have not to ratify the bylaw to be okay with the vision. So me, I am a CD, but you know how I am. I am a guy that wants just to collaborate. So I give 75% of my funds because I want to see a mutual funds. Yeah, that's ridiculous, but that's the gesture. And if we do that, then we can also go to other platform and other funders and show them that we have already made something ourselves into our platform, Eden On EOS. We show that we have made our work. I am totally okay with Dominic Thomas, that is not here now, but that was stating that indeed the partners, they are not paying attention on how we have made the work. They don't want to know what we have discussed into our working group and all this stuff. They just want to know indeed what are the KPIs, what are the value added point of this Eden On EOS, how we can help EOS EVM, and etc. So that's that they want to know. The details they are not interested about. So now, is there a time to join the working group the most rapidly possible? Yes, show your presence. Write into the document your list of points and make your commitment with yourself first before to do commitment with others. Do the commitment for yourself. See you into a mirror and speak to yourself. Will I be okay to go into this working group and do the work? Because it's also about time. If you are doing 20 things at the same time, you will never have the time to do this thing. So you have to be very committed also with the time. So, and during the working group, that's an experiment. Maybe we will see, oh, this guy or this woman is not able to participate into this working group. Maybe we have to pivot because we don't want to go into a wall. We have to rapidly see if we go into a wall. And before to go into the wall, we pivot and we change our strategy. So we have already speak of that, the 3 CDs here. We have already discussed of the strategy that we have in case that it is not working as expected. We have different scenario, and we don't go like the wind on the left and on the right. So we are very structured. Mo, you tell me if I am totally wrong.
100%. I agree. I just wanted to say Lenny had his hand up.
Yeah, Lenny.
Yeah, I just wanted to a little bit say that I would say, I mean, the work that needs to be done should be done one way or the other. Who is leading the working group can be developed over the next bundle of days, and the 3 CDs basically have to kind of align. Hey, what are we really agreeing on? And similarly, and there might be some, what do I know, some tweaking or something, but it's been announced meeting times possibly by Monday evening or something, so that maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, meetings might start, and by that time the CDs possibly have a united front or path forward how to do their leads. And I favor what Dominic said. We gotta work. We can talk about processes and tweak them forever and ever, but it doesn't produce anything. So please, we need to start working and let the CDs do their work and align on how to go forward, because that's the way the uploading works. And one thing I'm see as a wee bit of a negative is the total commitment to be made on writing that here is my interest, I will do this. You're dropping half of the interested people right away by those strengths. I would say give it a week or something, let people come in, get a feeling, and then they can say if they're ready to commit or not. Now, the way it's been portrayed, it might be scaring off people who might be interested because they do not have a time to commit. But maybe it's not as much as they might be scared of. So we are losing too many. I mean, look how many we are in the election, for instance, and similarly. Many of those would probably not sign. I mean, we see what's been signed so far. So open up a little bit there with a view that it might get tighter later on. Thanks. That's all I want.
I agree with you, Lenny. I agree with you. You sometimes cannot be totally committed since the onset, but at least you have to be with yourself, doing a little commitment. I saw Chris Barnes pushing a commitment on his column. Also, if it is not maybe frozen into the stone, but at least you put something to make you a priority, to make you, let's say, accountable. And then when you will be with other into your working group, maybe your commitment will be completed, but at least you put something. It's very important. Otherwise, you go somewhere and you don't know even what you will do. So that's important for.
Yeah, I think also once the working groups are going and people show up and see who's there might be a working group where there's not really anyone specific that wants to be the lead, and someone just volunteers because that's they feel like they have to. Somebody has to take on that responsibility, and they're willing to do it. So yeah, I mean, I think the position that we need to be in right now is just to get it going, get it moving, and see where we're at, and work on the go. So I think on that note, if there's any other questions. No more questions. Does anyone want to raise any other topics?
The question will come surely into Telegram as always. After this call, for sure, the people will raise their question.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Keep the conversation going, and that's what it's for. Keep it moving.
Totally.
We end it there.
Yeah, and we know how we're wrapping up. At 3, 2, 1, 0, we say go Eden On EOS. 3, 2, 1, 0. Go Eden On EOS.
Adios.
Take care.
That's a great call.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.